Today Dong Fu invites you to listen to the Dhammapada, one of the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni. Not the sweet smell of flowers, not even the fragrance of sandal, tagara, or jasmine goes against the wind, but the fragrance of the virtuous goes against the wind, are carried by the wind only so far. They are limited, fleeting, and external. In contrast, the fragrance of virtue arises from the inner cultivation of the heart and mind. It is enduring, pervasive, and transcendent. Virtue is not visible like a flower or tangible like perfume, yet it is powerful. Its influence reaches far and wide, beyond immediate surroundings. The verse calls attention to the inner cultivation necessary to produce this fragrance. Virtue arises from consistent practice of generosity, patience, honesty, mindfulness, and compassion. It is the natural expression of a heart and mind aligned with the Dharma. Just as a flower requires soil, water, and sunlight to bloom, virtue requires continual mindfulness, ethical behavior. But their effect is temporary and limited. The fragrance of virtue is enduring, influencing all directions. It is not dependent on recognition or admiration. It flows naturally from the character and actions of the virtuous. In daily life, this teaching reminds us that ethical conduct and compassion are more powerful than superficial appearances. Acts performed from genuine intention carry influence far beyond the immediate moment. A kind word, a generous gesture, a patient response, or a compassionate action pervades hearts, communities. Create a fragrance that spreads far and wide. The virtuous person does not seek attention or reward. Their actions naturally inspire and uplift, creating harmony wherever they go. Mahayana teachings highlight the ripple effect of virtuous conduct. A single virtuous act, performed with genuine intention, touches many lives. Compassion, patience, generosity, and wisdom inspire others to cultivate similar qualities. The fragrance of virtue spreads like a gentle wind, awakening goodness in countless hearts. The Buddha's teaching encourages reflection on the impact of our actions. We often focus on external recognition or immediate results, and intention create a resonance that guides others toward mindfulness and awakening. The fragrance of virtue is both cause and effect, nurturing personal growth and benefiting all beings. The Buddha's 54th verse teaches that virtue is not merely personal. Its fragrance extends far beyond oneself, touching every direction. Each act of kindness, compassion, and mindfulness contributes to this pervasive influence. Cultivating virtue in daily life is therefore both personal practice and a gift to the world. In relationships, acts of generosity within the community create trust and cooperation. Virtue nurtures connection, strengthens bonds, and fosters harmony. The ripple effect extends beyond immediate interactions, inspiring others to act mindfully and ethically. Practical cultivation begins with awareness. Mindfulness allows us to recognize opportunities to act virtuously, observing our thoughts, speech, and actions ensures that they arise from compassion and wisdom rather than ego or attachment. Each choice to act kindly, speak gently, or respond patiently adds a flower to the invisible garland of virtue that surrounds us. Consistency is essential. Just as a single fragrance cannot pervade the air alone, virtue requires continuous practice. Daily acts of generosity, ethical conduct, and compassionate engagement accumulate into a profound influence that cannot be contained. Even small deeds. Ethical conduct ensures trust and fosters collaboration. Acts of compassion and understanding reduce conflict, inspire loyalty, and create a positive atmosphere. The influence of virtue extends beyond individual interactions, shaping the character of the collective. In education and guidance, the fragrance of virtue is a silent teacher. Students learn not only through instruction, but by observing the character and actions of their teachers. Ethical conduct, patience, and compassion inspire imitation and internalization. The fragrance of virtue cultivates wisdom and ethical awareness in the hearts of others. Even in moments of challenge, the fragrance of virtue prevails, responding to adversity with patience, equanimity, and compassion strengthens the heart and influences those around us. Difficult circumstances become opportunities to demonstrate virtue, compassionate action, and mindful living. The virtuous person does not seek praise or reward. The fragrance of virtue is inherent, radiating silently and pervading all directions. Mahayana teachings emphasize the cultivation of bodhisattva qualities in this context. Compassion, generosity, patience, diligence, and wisdom are not only personal virtues, but instruments to benefit all beings. Each virtuous act contributes to the liberation and awakening of others, and intentions align with the Dharma. The fragrance of virtue becomes a natural expression of character, influencing others and contributing to the awakening of sentient beings. The Buddha encourages reflection on impermanence. Life is fleeting, and opportunities for virtuous action are precious. Mindful cultivation ensures that every encounter, every thought, every word, and every deed contributes to the pervasive fragrance of virtue. Each moment becomes a chance to enrich the world with goodness and wisdom. The Buddha's 54th verse also points to the profound spiritual benefits of virtue. Virtuous conduct purifies the mind, calms the heart, and cultivates wisdom. When we act with integrity, compassion is the natural consequence of our actions. Every virtuous deed generates positive conditions for ourselves and others. Acts performed with sincerity and mindfulness cultivate merit. This merit supports spiritual growth, strengthens the mind against suffering, and nurtures wholesome habits that lead toward liberation. Integrating virtue into daily practice begins with mindfulness. Observing thoughts, speech, and actions allows us to act intentionally rather than reactively, spreading fragrance through all directions. The ripple effect of virtue extends to the collective consciousness. When individuals act ethically and compassionately, They influence others subtly yet powerfully. Communities become more harmonious. Families experience deeper trust. Friendships flourish. Virtue strengthens the mind against anger, attachment, and aversion. By acting with patience and compassion, we reduce internal conflict and increase emotional stability. The heart becomes gentle. The more our character aligns with the Dharma, ethical conduct, mindfulness, and compassionate action become natural expressions of the heart. This internal alignment radiates outward, creating influence without effort, like fragrance carried by the wind. In practical terms, integrating virtue into daily life involves consistent small actions. Offering assistance without expectation, speaking kindly, listening attentively, practicing honesty, and responding patiently are simple yet powerful methods. Over time, these habitual acts transform character and create a pervasive impact on our environment. The cultivation of bodhisattva qualities deepens this practice. Generosity, patience, diligence, compassion, reaching far beyond personal merit, inspiring others, and guiding them toward mindfulness and awakening. Even in challenging circumstances, virtue maintains its power. Responding to conflict with patience, responding to criticism with humility, and responding to suffering with compassion strengthens the heart. These actions, though often unnoticed externally, spread the fragrance of virtue internally and externally, creating conditions for harmony and awakening. The Buddha emphasizes that true virtue requires no recognition or reward. Its power lies in alignment with Dharma, sincerity of intention, and consistency of practice. The virtuous person pervades all directions, touching hearts and lives without seeking acknowledgement. This is the essence of authentic influence and spiritual maturity. Finally, integrating virtue fully into personal awakening involves continuous reflection and cultivation each day, and generates merit that supports both present life and spiritual liberation. The fragrance of virtue thus encompasses both personal transformation and the benefit of all beings. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, ethical conduct, and wisdom, we align ourselves with the Dharma. The heart becomes radiant, the mind serene, and every action contributes to the awakening of self and others. The Buddha's 54th verse also teaches us about the long-term effects of virtue. Just as fragrance pervades the air and lingers, the merit created by virtuous action endures. Each act of kindness, patience, generosity, and ethical conduct produces karmic seeds that continue to bear fruit throughout life and beyond. Each virtuous deed strengthens positive tendencies in the mind, cultivating wisdom, compassion, and resilience. These qualities support the path toward awakening. They create conditions for happiness, reduce suffering, and foster harmony within and around us. The accumulation of merit amplifies the fragrance of virtue, pervading every aspect of life. The ripple effect of virtue shapes society and community. A single virtuous individual can inspire collective ethical conduct. communities where generosity, patience, virtue is contagious, spreading through example and influence like fragrance carried by the wind. The long-term impact of virtuous influence also supports the path to Buddhahood. Their fragrance of virtue pervades all directions, guiding sentient beings toward awakening. Each virtuous action contributes to the gradual enlightenment of self and others. Daily life offers countless opportunities to cultivate this enduring influence. Simple acts, consistently practiced, accumulate into profound merit. Helping others, speaking kindly, acting with patience, and practicing generosity all contribute. Each action, repeated with mindful intention, adds to the pervasive fragrance of virtue that benefits oneself and others. The impact of virtuous action transcends immediate perception. Even unseen, it nurtures goodness, inspires ethical behavior, and supports awakening in countless beings. Communities shaped by virtue are more resilient. Ethical conduct reduces conflict. Compassion fosters understanding. Generosity cultivates trust, contributes to the vast network of influence that guides others toward awakening. Ultimately, the long-term impact of virtue is the flowering of awakened character. Through consistent practice, the mind becomes clear, the heart compassionate, and action skillful. The fragrance of virtue pervades all directions, touching lives, inspiring goodness, and supporting the realization of Buddhahood. The Buddha's teaching encourages us to view life as an opportunity to cultivate enduring virtue. Every thought, word, and action can contribute to the lasting fragrance of goodness. By living with mindfulness, sincerity, and ethical awareness, we create a life of profound meaning, benefiting both ourselves and all beings. The Buddha's 54th verse concludes by teaching us how to fully integrate virtue into daily life. Just as fragrance pervades all directions when carried by the wind, the fragrance of virtue spreads through every act, word, and thought rooted in mindfulness, compassion, and ethical conduct. Each moment of conscious practice contributes to this enduring influence. Integration begins with awareness. Mindfulness allows us to recognize opportunities for kindness, generosity, patience, and ethical behavior. Whether we are interacting with family, friends, colleagues, or strangers, each action becomes a chance to contribute to the garland of virtue. Even the smallest gestures, performed sincerely, carry the fragrance of merit that touches hearts and minds. Consistency amplifies this effect. Virtuous practice is not sporadic or occasional. It is a continuous thread woven into daily life. Repeated acts of compassion, honesty, and patience gradually strengthen character. Over time, the influence of virtue becomes pervasive, extending beyond the immediate circle of interaction to the wider community and the world. The full expression of virtue is reflected in the cultivation of bodhisattva qualities. Generosity, patience, diligence, compassion, and wisdom become habitual. The bodhisattva acts selflessly, motivated by the welfare of all beings. Each virtuous act, performed with sincere intention, contributes to the liberation and awakening of countless lives. The fragrance of virtue is not limited. It reaches all directions, inspiring and uplifting others. Daily life becomes a field for spiritual cultivation. Every encounter, choice, and opportunity to act mindfully and ethically adds to the accumulation of merit. Responding to anger with patience, offering guidance with humility, sharing resources without expectation, and speaking kindly all strengthen the garland of virtue. The fragrance of merit flows naturally from a heart aligned with Dharma. The long-term impact of virtue extends to both the personal and collective spheres. Internally, it purifies the mind and strengthens community. Virtue becomes a living presence that transforms life, society, and the world. Through consistent practice, the mind gradually attains freedom from attachment, aversion, and ignorance. Virtue supports insight and the awakening of the heart. Each good deed contributes to spiritual growth, creating conditions for liberation and enlightenment. The fragrance of virtue becomes both guide and companion on the path to Buddhahood. The Buddha's teaching reminds us that virtue is self-perpetuating. Its influence grows silently, naturally, illuminated by wisdom and guided toward awakening. May we then dedicate ourselves to cultivating virtue continuously. May our actions, words, and thoughts reflect compassion, patience, and generosity. May the fragrance of our merit spread in all directions, benefiting ourselves and all beings. May our lives become instruments of awakening, joy, and harmony. Thank you for watching my video. Namo. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.